morning, my friends. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to My Home Biz Tips, brought to you by PhD in Follow-Up. My Home Biz Tips is about tools and ideas that produce success. So I am here every week, every Tuesday, talking about things that I think are going to be useful for you in your business and kind of in your life too, because they're very closely connected. In fact, for some people, including myself, there is actually no difference between my business and my life. My life is my business is my life. That's a good thing, by the way, not a bad thing, because it means that even when I'm working, I'm having fun. And even when I'm relaxing and out with people, I can still talk about stuff to do with business and still be working if I choose. My name is Andrea Kuchin, and I've been PhD in follow-up for 10 years, helping people with their follow-up, and that became My Home Biz Tips. So today we're talking about something that's not quite follow-up, and it's not quite business tips either. It's called diversification. I got that word from people talking about diversifying their portfolio. Who has a portfolio? Who knows what diversifying a portfolio is? Sounds very confusing. Sounds a little bit technical. Sounds like something that really isn't for me at all. However, our portfolios do need to be diverse. In other words, you do need to be able to make money from different places, right? So that's what we're going to talk today about today. It's my favorite subject because it is so absolutely critical. And I'll tell you how I got to that thought, why I got to that thought, and how I solved the problem of not wanting to put all my eggs in one basket, because you know what that means, right? The idea of that expression comes from you drop the basket, you've broken every egg, right? You have several baskets, you drop a basket, you've only lost a percentage of your eggs, right? Now that gives you security, and a lot of us don't have it. And I've been banging on about how we should have at least 5 streams of income per individual, or minimally per household, in order to make it. And I cannot stress enough how important it is for you to understand the critical financial situation we are in at the moment, and the fact that it's unlikely to get a lot better rather soon. It's more likely to not get better, but get worse, and potentially take a very long time to figure itself out. Okay? In the meantime, you can protect yourself from the situation I found myself in. Now, I had this absolutely fabulous job. I loved it, loved it, loved it. I had invested quite a lot of money in it because I needed to wear suits to work. Couldn't wear the same one every day. And obviously to go with that, I needed the smart shoes, and I needed the smart haircuts regularly, and I needed the smart bags to carry my stuff. And I traveled a lot, so I needed a good suitcase or two. And sometimes I went on business meetings by car, so I needed a really good car. And I upgraded a lot of stuff and spent a lot of money. I was earning a lot of money, so it didn't really matter. I actually upgraded my home as well because I was earning a lot of money. That wasn't a problem though. The point was, I had invested time, energy, and money into this job, which I did love, and I loved the people I was working with. But through no fault of our own, the company was closed down from one day to the next, and I was left with nothing. Actually, that's not quite true. I was given my computer. When a company closes like that, they don't have any money to pay off their staff or give their staff a redundancy payment. In other words, a couple of months' salary to keep them going until they can get another job. They give them something else that has a monetary value. And they gave us our computers, those of us who wanted them. And we raided the stationery cupboard. There wasn't really anything else. We raided the stationery cupboard. That turns out to have been really good for me because it was the first time I'd had a computer at home, huge, great desktop computer. It was the first time I'd had a computer at home, and it allowed me to go into the freelance market, which is where my self-employment started. And even though I have had jobs before, employed by people, I mean, since then, employed by people, I have still always had something else. Because that moment that you realize that your money is gone, even if it's just a temporary situation, you don't know if you're going to be able to pay your mortgage or your rent or your phone bill or your internet bill or anything else. That is a horrible, horrible moment. In fact, it's so horrible, I'm going to have a sip of coffee to calm me down because the memory of it is so traumatic. Okay, joking apart, that is the truth. It is an incredibly traumatic thing. Now, I was lucky because at the time I was living on my own. It's not as if I had children who were relying on me. That would have made it so much worse. And as I said, I got to work freelance immediately. And I'm still working freelance, kind of. I'm still my own boss. Even though since then I've had other employment, I have always had something on the side that I could use to make money. Now, if you are a practical person and you can use a computer or draw or do something, write or create music or do something that somebody could buy, there are a number of platforms that you can join and you can sell your services, either in terms of something that's been created, like Etsy, for example. You can make jewelry or your own shampoo bars or whatever it is that you want to make. You can sell those on Etsy, or you can create a digital product that people can download and buy. I mean, I buy a lot of digital products from Etsy because I buy planners and planner pages and books and things like that from Etsy. Christmas gifts, of course. Also, old stuff you've got lying around, because you can buy vintage stuff on Etsy as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be handmade. It could be vintage. So if you've got old clothes, old jewelry, old bits of furniture, old ornaments that are hanging around in the house that you don't really need, Etsy is probably a better place to sell them than eBay, because eBay has become the place where people get rid of their junk, whereas Etsy is the place where people sell things that have value because they're vintage or antique or handmade. Okay? If you have a skill that you can sell, that you can market, you do great voiceovers, or you, like I said, you can draw or design a logo, or you can write copy or something like that, you can use platforms like Upwork, which used to be Odesk, and I'm sure there are others, Fiverr with 2 R's, doesn't mean to say that you only get paid a fiver for doing something, but there are things that do only cost a fiver, and then there are things that cost a lot more. Now, I was on Fiverr for many years doing all sorts of things, and I could go back any minute if I needed to. I can go back onto Upwork any minute if I need to. The opportunity is there. And in those 2 locations, as long as you promote your product inside the ecosystem well, you will be found, because people are looking on Etsy or Upwork or Fiverr or eBay even for what you have, and they will find it. It's not like a business of your own that you have to promote all over the place in order to encourage people to go to your website. It is something that it's a place that people go to when they look for things. Now, on the subject of selling something through somebody else's website, there is, of course, Amazon. And I know people who've made a fortune selling stuff on Amazon, stuff that's already created, books, again, digital books, which are easier to download, items that are relevant to whatever business it is the person is in, because for Amazon, you do really need a mailing list. You do need to be able to get people interested in a product, and then you direct them to where it is. So that is a different step. But for newbie business owners who are setting up a business, who are building an email list, that's a very good way of getting a little bit of money coming in. I'll give you an example. One of the first blog posts I ever wrote was about the Pomodoro technique of time management. That's when you set a timer for a certain amount of time, and then you stop it and you take a break, and then you set the timer again, and so on and so forth. It's called Pomodoro technique. Pomodoro is the Italian word for tomato, and it involves a timer. So I thought if I go on Amazon and find a timer that's shaped like a tomato, I could sell that through the blog. It would be, and if you'd like a timer like this, if you want a kitchen timer that looks like if you want a real Pomodoro timer, then click here to buy one. And it went through to the Amazon page, right? Not because I sell timers, but because it was relevant to what I had written, and I had already established an email list at that point. And that's a subject we're going to talk about as well. Not today, but at some point. So that's another way that you can make money, because in your business, you need to be building a list anyway, but you can subsidize it. You can upscale it by selling things on Amazon. You can also sell things on your own website. And digital products, again, are much more convenient because they can be delivered easily at any time of the day or night without you having to do anything about it at all. And a lot of the software is by subscription, which means people will be paying you every month for that service, right? So you can, again, you can be promoting books, which you can link on Amazon. You can write blogs about something that you learned reading a special book and link the Kindle version and the paperback version. But you can also create your own material. You can create a video series that is a training program, for example, that people can buy. You can write your own books that people can buy that can be linked through your website to Amazon, right? Or your own how to do whatever it is you're an expert at. And you can always bring people to that point through a funnel system, right? Where first of all, you get them interested in your free offer of something or other, right? Or your $7 book, right? And then you gradually build up. And of course, to start off with, you'll only have a free product, but that helps you build your list, which helps you sell products, which helps you build your list, so that the two work together. And gradually you will be able to offer products that are more expensive until eventually you find your high ticket item, which if, for example, you're a coach, would be your coaching. If, for example, you're an affiliate marketer or you're an MLMer, because these tools work for all sorts of different types of businesses, you do the same thing. You bring them through a series of less expensive things up to your high ticket item, right? You can also, if you are building an audience for your business, and you don't have any products of your own to sell, you can use places like ClickBank, where they have masses of products specifically designed for affiliate marketers to sell. So say, for example, your interest is, it's such an easy one for people to understand because they've experienced it, but weight loss or anti-aging or something like that. And you see this all over social media all the time. You could go into ClickBank and look for products that you think would be interesting to your audience, and you just offer them, you sell them, right, through your website. And also the fact that you're promoting those products and you talk about it on social media will bring more people to you. And all of this is relatively low effort on behalf of the work that you do, and potentially high income based on obviously how many people buy. Now, if you're so busy working, but you're earning well, and you've got loads of ideas, but you don't have the time to implement it, I highly recommend that you hire yourself a VA or a VA team. A VA is a virtual assistant. It's like having an assistant, but you never meet in person. And depending on what it is that you're doing, I can help you with that. I've got, sometimes it's difficult to trust people on Upwork, but I've got some great ideas on how you can whittle down so that you're not trying to plow through hundreds of applicants or trying to interview hundreds of people that you don't have time for. I can show you a way when you're hiring somebody to make it much easier for you to hire the right person, or for you to reduce the number of people who are actually qualified for the job. But I would do that. If you've got the money to afford to pay for somebody, your system then becomes almost automated. For very little effort, you can generate a monthly income, a residual income. In other words, it's residue, it's left over from something, right? So you write a blog post once, and every time somebody reads that blog post, they buy the item. That can be there for years, right? So the work was done at the beginning, and then you can keep earning money from it later on, and potentially get more readers who you can promote other products to, and so it goes. Now, they don't have to be your own products, but of course you can produce your own products as well. There are also companies who have specific things that you can sell. If, for example, you are an affiliate marketer, or you want to be an affiliate marketer, there are platforms where you can buy courses that teach you how to be an affiliate marketer, how to use social media or email lists or build email lists or whatever it is. Those courses exist, and you can do the training and then also sell the courses, right? So that would be another product you can sell. And there are companies that do that. There's a company called Attraction Marketing, I think, that I've seen promoting on Facebook. There's another company called MLSP. I can't remember what that stands for. They have a similar thing, but it's for the network marketing industry, although it probably would apply to affiliate marketing as well, because they're pretty much the same thing, really. And maybe if you're interested, I can talk to you one day about what the difference is between one or the other, and why one might be better than the other. Anyway, give you some more background information. This is a really good point to give you my contact details, because I can imagine that there might be questions. So you can email me at andrea@phdinfollowup.com, andrea@phdinfollowup.com, if you want a bit more information about the services that we provide and the things that we do specifically, that we've got our own experience in. phdinfollowup.com/Andrea Kuchin. There are a number of things there. If you become involved in something that I'm doing, then you get my support and my training on top which I don't charge for, obviously, because if you're working with me, we're working together, we're partners. And I'm always looking for more partners. I'm always looking for people who are interested in working for themselves, in making more money, in finding opportunities for additional income streams, because that's one, like I said, that's one of my favorite things. So you can find more about me here. You can email me there, or you can call or text me on 858-252-1190, 858-252-1190. And of course, you can join the Facebook group. You might already be in the Facebook group, watching this in the Facebook group. If you're not, join the Facebook group so that you can join the conversation. It's called PhD and Follow-Up, More Loyal Customers and Referrals for Busy Business Owners, right? As if any business owner was anything other than busy. Anyway, that's where we started, PhD and Follow-Up. So those are different ways that you can generate income by, I know a lot of people don't like this word, but by selling something. In other words, promoting a product of some kind. Whether you created it or didn't is irrelevant. There are thousands of things out there that you can promote. And you can attach yourself to a product and promote it. You could become an MLMer or an affiliate marketer for a specific company or 2 or 3. Or you can attach yourself to a particular audience and then provide things they would be interested in. Or you can become a particular kind of business and provide things that are relevant to that business. Like, as I was explaining before, the tomato kitchen timer, because I'd written about time management, that sort of thing. If somebody had said to me at some point that one day I would be selling a kitchen timer shaped like a tomato, I wouldn't have said that would be possible at all. But it fitted in with what that particular email was about. Okay. Then there are the investment opportunities that you can put money into where you don't actually have to do anything because it does it for itself. Now, people have been doing this for hundreds of years. That's why we have stock exchanges all over the place. The word stocks and shares, or the word stock and the word share, I think one is English and one is American. They both essentially mean the same thing. You have been able to buy bits of companies, and as the value of the company increased, you made money. If the value of the company decreased, you lost money. But if you bought and sold these things or had a broker buy and sell them for you, you could do very well. There are horror stories, of course, of people who lost the shirt on their back because they overinvested or they invested in something that crashed. That's life. You know, we know people who lost their homes in a financial crisis. You know, that's what happens. But with wisdom and a good team, you can avoid those kind of things. Way more people make a fortune than lose a fortune, for sure. Otherwise, nobody'd still be doing it. Okay, so in the old days, and I'm talking about up to about maybe 10 years ago or so, you had to have a significant amount of money in order to invest something in something, even if you were just buying different currencies, which is something Europeans are really familiar with, because every time they travel, they have to get a different currency, or at least they used to be. In, I think 2000 it was, they introduced the euro, which means that now most of mainland Europe is all using the same currency, although the coins and the notes are actually different because each country's got their own. The UK still has the pound. They don't use the euro. But before then, there was a lot of changing different currencies. The Germans had the marks, the French had the franc. so on and so forth. The krona in Sweden, now they've all got euros. But still, now we're doing more business with America than the average person used to. So we're still familiar with the idea of this much money being that certain value in a different currency. People have been making money exchanging currencies for decades, but they needed a lot to get started. Nowadays, you don't need much money to get started in investing or currency trading. Also, because there are so many more currencies, because we have cryptocurrencies now, which is a whole nother thing. But that sort of activity is accessible for anybody nowadays. You can buy a cryptocurrency and watch it increase. And now is a really good time to buy because the prices have come down so low. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not an expert, but my gut instinct is that at some point it's going to have to turn around and go back up again, because that's the way life is. That's the way the market has always been. It goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down. You know that from house prices, right? They go up and then they go down and then they go up again. But overall, over a period of years, the trend is an increase, right? And that is what tends to happen with the markets as well. So if you have a little bit of spare cash, and when I say a little bit, I'm talking about $300 or $500, you can make some money. Now, let me tell you a little story, or let me give you a scenario to think about. If you put a $500 investment, no, that's the wrong word, deposit to buy a car, a $500 deposit to buy a car, and then you make monthly payments of $200 for 5 years, what have you got at the end of it? You've spent $500 once, then you spent $200 a month for 5 years. And what's the product you have at the end? A car. What's the value of the car? Is it equivalent to the amount of money you spent? No, because at that time that you bought it, it was already a relatively cheap car. And by the time you finished paying for it, it'll probably have half as much value as it had when you first bought it. In fact, it might not have any value at all if it's broken or gone wrong or got badly scratched, something like that, right? So you have put a significant amount of money into what? Nothing at all. Now, you're going to say, but I need a car. That's fine. For this example, that's not relevant. What you could do is take your $500 and put it into a trading account. Now, before I continue, let me make it absolutely clear what I'm talking about. There are trading accounts where you learn to trade and you do the work of trading yourself. There are places where you copy an expert and just do what the expert does so that you make money when the expert makes money, but you are doing it yourself. Then on the other side, there are managed accounts where you just give your money to a broker or a company and they trade it and then they give you the profit. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. That's what I do. I don't have the time to learn to trade at the moment. It's on my to-do list. It's on my bucket list, but it's not something I have the time for right now. So I put my money in a managed account. Okay. So the money goes into that account. My $500 goes into that account. Now, say I was going to put $200 in every month for 5 years. What do you think I will have at the end? I would have enough money to go and buy the dealership where I bought the car, right? So here you go. I spend $500 on a car and I pay $200 a month for 5 years. What do I have left at the end of it? A very old, relatively valueless car. Or I put $500 into an investment account, a trading account. I give $200 a month to that trading account. And at the end of 5 years, I have enough money that if I wished, I could hypothetically buy a car dealership or buy an apartment block that I could rent the properties out, pay off the mortgage on my house, my children's homes, and my parents' homes. I'm serious. You wouldn't think that would be possible. So I want you to look at money and investing in a different way, especially in the run up to the holidays, where the temptation is to spend more money than you probably would on gifts for people, possibly because it's been a really bad year and you're trying to cheer everybody up. Think about the fact that it might be worth investing some of that money instead. And like I said, you can start with as little as $300 and no monthly contribution at all if you want. In fact, between you and me, that would be a fantastic holiday gift for somebody, especially teenagers who need to pay for school at some point or would want to buy a house, or older people who need an income. You know, that would be a pension plan for them. Anyway, think about this. When you spend $100 on an investment, at some point, 6 months or so, that investment will be worth $200, give or take, 7 months, 8 months, all being well. You know, it's no guarantee. Don't say I made a promise. I didn't, but it could be. I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen. I've experienced it myself personally. 100 turns into 200 in the kind of amount of time that you forget. You put it in, you forget about it, and then you suddenly think, oh, I wonder how, and it turns out it was 6 months ago and it's doubled, right? Or you buy yourself a pair of shoes for $100. What have you got 6 months later? You've got a pair of shoes that actually cost you $200, because the potential value of that money was $200, because you could have invested it and turned it into $200. Instead, you bought a pair of shoes, which 6 months later, I mean, if you're wearing them every day, they're not going to be in very good shape 6 months later. If you're wearing them for a special occasion, you might not even have worn them again in 6 months, but you could have had $200. So when you go shopping this year for the holidays, look at the money that you're spending and think about what value those things that you're going to buy will have in 6 months' time. Now, obviously, it's not only monetary value, right? It's also use value. But are you buying liabilities or are you buying assets? Are you buying something that drains your financial resources? Are you buying something that feeds your financial resources? Think about feeding your financial resources. Think about the fact that those shoes actually cost you $200, where they could have cost you just $100, or rather you could have made $100 with that $100. Do you really need another pair of shoes? Or could you wait 6 months, turn the 100 into 200, and then take that 100 you made, buy the shoes, because you've still got your original 100, which is going to create another 100. Okay, I've just realized that I've been talking an incredibly long time today, and I didn't mean it to go so long because I went further than I intended to. I was going to divide this up into 2 or 3 different videos. So the point is, think about what you're doing with your money. Look at different ways of making extra money, because there are lots of different ways. Then reach out to me, Andrea at phdinfollowup.com, Andrea at phdinfollowup.com, or call or text me And I actually will answer the phone as long as I'm not online. 858-252-1190 and ask me what I'm doing, because I'm currently in present time doing most of the things I've talked about, or I've done them in the past, or I'm working with someone who's also doing them. So between us, me and my team can help you. And I have some really exciting things planned for 2023. So if you want to put a little bit of energy towards looking at things now so that you can start 2023 with a blast, get in touch. I look forward to hearing from you. And it doesn't have to be right now, and it doesn't have to be before 2023. If this video is out of date by the time you watch it, I'm sure the rules still apply. If I'm around, I'm making residual income. And I'm helping more and more people do that every day. So doesn't matter what method you want to use, let me know. I can support you. That, my friends, is it for today. Thank you for joining me here at My Home Biz Tips. And I look forward to seeing you again next week. Have a super week. Do reach out if you have any questions. Take care. Lots of love. Bye-bye.